We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it. Hello. Welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner podcast. Matt and Brandon are here. Sorry for the technical boo-boos 2 weeks in a row.
It's all my fault. It's fine. I will throw myself under the bus. I did it.
Was it at least like a small bus? Because it's a minor thing. No. You went for a full size.
Yeah, I went for like a Greyhound.
Gotta be a little easier on yourself, buddy. Welcome, everyone. It has been a weird week because it was a bye week for Utica. No games, nothing to watch. I mean, there were plenty of SOGs around the league, just none for Utica.
Not ones we really care about. We did. I mean, there was some that I cared about, but on myself. But at the same time, there was no Utica SOGs.
Mm. So I figure this week, since not Utica to talk about, we'll do a little bit of update on how things stand around the league since we're in the second half of the season.
Usually on two legs.
Mm-hmm. Not always. Sometimes, you stand on one. And, that will talk about how things look for Utica as we go into the final 10 games. Weird to say, but we're almost 2/3 of the way through the season and will be so after this week.
Yeah.
And then we'll preview this weekend's games against Baltimore and Milwaukee.
It's going to be a packed weekend. Yeah, sounds like a good one.
Yeah, we get this weekend off, and then next Monday it's binge session through 2 games again.
That's right.
First things first, let's talk standings. Utica finds itself second place in the East after 14 games played. They're 11-2-1. Second most points.
I would never guess who we're behind.
Yeah, there's this team that doesn't lose.
No, they
Monterey.
don't.
Monterey continues to remain unbeaten. They're 15-0. 2 weeks until they come to Utica. 25th. That should be a fun one. Mark your calendars.
At least we can have them at home. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we got them at home instead of going down there and being just completely at the mercy
of the mini field. But we'll be at the mercy of the mini field on Friday anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. But we've been there before. We've been there a few times. I would say we've been there a good handful of times, if I were to recall. Mm-hmm. Not just this season, but in general. I'm pretty sure we've been there a lot.
Yeah, just a dozen times or so.
Yeah. Baker's dozen.
Behind Utica is Milwaukee. They trail by 5 points, but Utica has a game in hand.
Yes.
Kansas City is in 4th. After starting the season 8-1, they have fallen all the way to 8-6-3. What once seemed like a three-way battle for second place in the East has kind of turned into a 2-game. Yep. And what looked like a set 3, top 4 teams has now brought Baltimore back into the mix.
Oh, yeah. Never count them out.
Yeah. Now the Blasters 6-6-1. They have 18 points, but they've only played 13 games. So trailing Kansas City by 9 points. If they win 3 of the next 4 in regulation, they would be tied.
Yep.
So
just because you got more games under your belt does not mean that you are ahead of others.
No, weirdly enough, Baltimore, a team that has struggled mightily at times this year, is not out of it.
No, absolutely not.
St. Louis trails them. 16 games played, 14 points. Not officially eliminated, but things are not looking good for the Blast. And at the bottom, for the ambush.
Listen, I know you want. I know that was wishful thinking. You're just like, yeah, it's looking bad for him, but can't be. You got to show him a little respect, just a little. Yeah. Drinks so that he doesn't say anything he doesn't want to.
And then at the bottom, it's Harrisburg, who I thought about it when I saw a post from one of their inactive players this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming it's because of visa issues, but Tetsane hasn't played a single game. He's been inactive all year.
Yep.
He had 10 points for them in 9 games last year out of the defensive position. I think when anyone was making their preseason projections, they were including him helping that line, Vosvik being active. I mean, they've got Navarrete now, so that helps them in goal.
It does, yeah. Not much, but it does.
Yeah.
No, they're definitely on the struggle bus.
With 2 points, they're all but mathematically eliminated.
Yeah.
And then you go out west. Unsurprisingly, San Diego has found himself back at the top of the table. 32 points. 32 points in 13 games. The only team to beat them has been Chihuahua. Texas, a team that Utica lost to in overtime, is in second. But their 27 points come in 16 games played. So they could take a tumble in the standings depending on how Chihuahua does down the stretch.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chihuahua, they have 5 losses. Those 5 losses all come against Monterey.
Imagine.
Yeah. Imagine. So with that, they're only 3 points behind Texas with 3 games in hand. Seems like they could pretty easily climb up to the 2 seed and win home field advantage for the first round of the playoffs.
Yep.
And fourth, Tacoma. I think we all expected those 4 to be the top 4 in the West.
Yeah, I would say so.
Their 6 losses have only come against, weirdly enough, San Diego and Chihuahua. And then trailing them and pretty much out of the playoffs at this point are both the Empire Strikers at 3-12 with 8 points and Dallas Sidekicks at 1-12 with 2 points.
Yeah, and it's a kind of a known thing at this point that Empire is kind of my team in the West, and it definitely sucks to see them go down as bad as they have this season. I know it's kind of a rebuild, if you will, for them. And I do feel like this is one of those seasons that for them kind of roots out the Fairweather fans from the diehard fans. And I mean, look, for me, I'm still gonna root for them when they're not playing Utica. Utica is always going to be my number 1 team, but Empire is always at this point, they're going to be my number 2 team. That's just how it is. So, I mean, it definitely sucks, and their schedule looks painful. Chihuahua, San Diego, Kansas City, San Diego, Chihuahua, San Diego, Chihuahua, Tacoma. Oh God, it's gonna. Oh, come on. Oh.
Hey, we have a 2-game series between Harrisburg and Dallas at some point for the battle for last place, or the battle to avoid last place.
Does one of them? Does the last place get a trophy?
They get the first pick in the draft next year.
Okay, I mean that's kind of a trophy, right? You get the first pick of, potentially the best players. So I guess that's a consolation prize. Dude. What?
Why
you gotta yawn? Why you gotta do that?
Exhausted. I am exhausted.
Listen. I got kept up half the night because of this little dog over here. Because this little sucker decided that he wanted to try and eat a raw chicken wing. He didn't he didn't get it down, but he definitely wasn't feeling good. So I'm tired too. Don't you worry. Anyway, I don't mean to take us off track. It's just
yeah, you're fine.
You
figure
brought us there with
all
the
nights
yawn.
we're going to get off track.
Unbelievable.
No, it's very believable.
I'll leave.
But that's where things stand at this point. Pretty much every team has played 13 games. Every team has played at least 13 games.
Yeah.
We're entering the final stretch of the season. 7 weeks left and 10 games to play.
And then sadness. Well,
then playoffs.
But no matter what happens after playoffs, sadness.
I believe it was head coach Jim Moore who said, playoffs? Can't be talking about playoffs. Playoffs. Wow. Not as good as Allen Iverson's practice. We talk about practice, not a game. Practice.
I have no words for you.
It's fair.
I just don't. Other than
Sogs.
There we go.
Yeah, that's where all the teams stand at this point. Playoffs are pretty much set in the West, except for who gets home field in the first round. And things in the East pretty much look like it's Monterey, and then Utica or Milwaukee, then the other team, and then Kansas or Baltimore.
Yep. Yeah, I think at least for us, the two key games there are potentially going to be our Milwaukee games.
Yes.
Just because, if we can take 3 points away from them and give ourselves 3 points, or vice versa, then I think that's going to kind of help shape that second place spot.
Yep, Sunday's going to be big. You can stare at all you want. I have the YouTube chat covering your face.
Why?
And I know you're just staring at me. I can feel it.
First, this dog farts, and now I smell that, and then you're yawning again.
Why
am I here? To suffer.
I guess these next two are kind of ones. Let's start with the strength of schedule.
Okay.
Just kind of, we talked about it in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
For most teams, things haven't changed that much. Utica had the third easiest schedule at the start of the season, based on last year's win percentage.
Yep.
Based on win percentage up to this point, they have the fifth easiest schedule.
Yeah.
And it moved percentage points. We went from, believe it or not, our schedule now is actually quote unquote easier than it was at the start of the year.
I think a lot of that had to do with the unknowns of the season because, now I'm not trying to say that they aren't a challenge now, but we have played teams like Baltimore 3 times, and we're usually keeping pretty good pace with each other. They are absolutely getting better.
Yes.
But it's usually a closer spread than it is now where, we've taken all 3 and none of them have been that close. They've all been 3+. So, that just kind of shows that, hey, okay, Baltimore on paper, we can typically handle them. We can handle our business there, here or there, because we won in both places.
Yeah.
St. Louis, we've gone against them. And then Milwaukee and of course Harrisburg, we've got one more game with them? One more game. And then we've got some other tougher games.
You mentioned how hard Empire's schedule has. They started the year with an opponent winning percentage at 600, and that has climbed to 680 over the final 9-10 games that they have. So,
okay,
they've gotten their quote unquote easy games out of the way, and now comes the real challenge. Not a fun thing to think about for a team that's in a rebuild.
That's okay. You know what? I finally went and ordered my scarf. I finally got a nice Empire scarf or a Striker scarf that's going to be on the way. And I might be getting something else with the help of the doctors. So
okay.
I'm looking forward to that. But you know what? Again, doesn't matter if they do good. Doesn't matter if they do bad. I'm still going to watch, and I'm still going to root for them no matter what.
Mm-hmm. One thing that leads some credence to the belief that Chihuahua could overtake Texas here. Texas has the second hardest remaining schedule at 6-10. Chihuahua has the second easiest remaining schedule at 4-1 at 4-10. So, that one could flip flop. And Texas head to head against Chihuahua this year has not done well.
No.
We could be looking at another San Diego Chihuahua final in the West. Which, to be fair, I would enjoy that very much. Those are two very competitive teams. They don't get as chippy as things did up in Tacoma with San Diego.
Fair. Yeah. Honestly, as much as, of course, I want to see Utica in the Ron Newman Cup.
No, I'm just saying Western Conference.
No, I know. But I'm just thinking even further ahead. Imagine, I could see this coming down to Monterey and Chihuahua potentially.
Oh, absolutely.
There is the potential for that. And that would be, I mean, just the announcers alone would be extremely entertaining for that game.
I feel like the league would find a way to send English broadcasters.
Yes.
Nothing against the Mexican side. If I could understand them, they would be much more entertaining, I am sure. Because there's always a high energy when they're talking. But 5 years of high school level Spanish was not enough to make me fluent, and that was over a decade ago.
I elect Philly and the Doctor. All right. I would love to have them as the English broadcast, but you definitely want to have a duo for something like that if it comes down to it. But I mean, Kansas City, I mean, Joey Zanzaboni.
I was going to say, let's send St. Louis. Let's send Joey Zanaboni and Philly. Think of how high energy both of those guys are.
I would have almost said Joey with Big Z.
Yeah, okay.
I would love to see Big Z in that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he did do the broadcast a few years ago for, what was it? Sirius XM.
Yep.
But that's where strength of schedule is. I mean, everything is there for Utica to continue a strong finish to the season.
Yes. We have the tools. We have the talent.
Now we just need to get the job done.
Yes, we do.
Now we'll talk attendance, because this is the 10th year in the league, and it's always a hot topic. You got MASL's 10 for 10 kind of thing going on. 10 years, which this week I believe is going to be Tommy Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out when it releases. I don't know if you know this, but when the league first opened, there were 24 teams. Way back in 2014, 2015. There are 24 teams, and of them, the attendance varied quite wildly. Leading the way back then was Baltimore.
I could totally see that.
St. Louis was also over 6,000 fans per game, which would be crazy to think about nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But number one at that time for attendance was the Rochester Lancers, averaging over 6,500 fans.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they fell out of the league from 15 to 19. Came back in a smaller venue, which they still averaged over 3,000 fans. Pretty much selling out every game.
Yep.
And then they've been down in M2 ever since.
They're still an entertaining team. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, we've
same.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, we've gone out to see both the outdoor Lancers, of course, the indoor team. We haven't seen them since they dropped down to M2. But I mean, we watched a couple of games. We watched a couple of games on the stream when they were going against Krasnik, and love being able to see some former Utica guys playing that maybe just can't have those kind of commitments to play for Utica, but still being able to watch them play for a team that we do like. But no, I mean, Rochester's a good. I mean, we took Wilkin from them. So I mean, they're a great team. Were they at the level to play at M1? That was proven to be not so much at the time. But I mean, they're a pretty dominant team in M2. So hats off to them, and it's fun to watch them play. It's just M2 doesn't gather a crowd.
Yeah. I'm just making all sorts of
sneezing. This guy's so unprofessional. God.
Yes, because we do this for a living. And it's definitely not.
It's definitely not a Monday night hobby.
Yeah. At the same time, you had teams averaging over 6,000 fans. 9 of the 24 teams averaged under 1,000. With the lowest, the Saltillo Rancho Seco, averaging 273 fans. Now, you shook your head there, and I don't know if you're more surprised at the low number or the team that you've never heard of.
I mean, it was definitely the team name at first, the team I had never heard of, but then hearing the number just kind of was like a double slap to the face. Because, I mean, I'll tell you what, though. I bet that average did not move much.
No, they were around one more year where they averaged 244, and then they folded.
Yeah. But I bet you that those 200-something fans, those were diehard. Those were the kind of fans you want.
It's the kind of fans that were kept Turlock around, even though they never had over 503. They never did better than their 503 their first season.
Yep.
Now that whole Western M2 league is kind of on hiatus this year, so who knows? But boy, were there some teams there in 2014-15. We already mentioned Baltimore, St. Louis, and the Lancers.
Yep.
Other founding members included the Sockers, the Sidekicks, the Silver Knights, who we now know as Utica City.
Yeah.
Harrisburg, Ontario Fury, a.k.a. the Empire Strikers.
Yep.
Tacoma Stars have been around the entire time. And then we have a bunch of teams that didn't make it. The Wichita B-52s, who I believe are now the Wichita Wings and are in M2.
Yeah.
Las Vegas Legends, Hidalgo La Fiera, Texas Oxford City, the Detroit Waza Flow, who again I think are either M2, M3, Missile, Passel, one of those other minor leagues. Sacramento Surge, the Tulsa Revolution.
Oh, Surge. Sorry. Made me think of soda. That was good stuff.
Look, maybe if they had some Surge sponsorship, they'd still be here. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
No.
There are 13 active teams now throughout the MASL. There had been 32 total over those 10 seasons. So, not great that so many have failed to stick around.
No, but
though some like the Brownsville / RGV Barracudas and Lancers and Wings have ended up in the lower tier.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things of just I guess, finding a place for specific teams to where they would thrive. It's kind of like Highlander, you just have to kill off some of the teams to gain more power.
But league-wide, the league was averaging 2,200 fans in attendance, just over. And they played 223 games that year. You had a team fold after like 3 games, which hasn't happened mid-season in a few years, so that's a positive.
It is. Let's not change that.
And there was growth. Right before COVID hit, the league was averaging 2,700 fans per game, which that's a 25% growth over 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
That goes exponentially. Who knows where this league would have been by 2025 if it weren't for COVID.
Right.
Unfortunately, COVID hit. And, before that, like Baltimore went from a massive arena to a smaller one.
Yep.
Instead of being in downtown Baltimore, they are in a suburb. Utica, Syracuse relocated to Utica. Mm-hmm. Rochester, we've already talked about. But pre-COVID, 2,700 fans. The first year after COVID, 1,800. Obviously, different things played into that. How many people were allowed? Who was comfortable going out? Could you get into an arena if you didn't have a vaccine or whatnot?
Yep. A lot of restrictions that limited the amount of fans that would potentially have come out.
Right.
Whether or not, people believe they should have or not would have been a different story. But it's one of those things of, they just couldn't come out in some instances or just really didn't want to take the chance. And I get that.
And one of these teams that just, done in because of that is the Florida Tropics.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have spent some time in Facebook groups mocking their attendance pre-COVID. When it's like, oh, we got 3,000 people here and they're still empty, but they were reporting 3,000 tickets.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, 1,192 and 1,153.
Yeah, big drop.
Like they saw their reported attendance drop by almost 65%.
I was going to say, basically at minimum 60.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a huge drop, and I mean, that's devastating to an organization.
Throw in the high salaries they had to bring in all the stars to try to win a championship.
Yep. And
then the increased facility fees, and explains why they're gone.
It kind of felt like they were going for a last ditch effort to try and pull in people by having a potentially championship worthy team. And then unfortunately it just didn't pan out for them. Mm-hmm. And that last ditch effort, unfortunately, because it didn't pan out, get them in.
Mm-hmm. But since COVID, things have started to pick back up. We're a few years removed. There's still some teams struggling. Monterey, top of the league, but attendance-wise, not a great look. Under 1,000 fans per game, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Kansas City, however, almost 5,000. Right. Just under 4,800 fans per game.
Kansas City's got some great fans. I mean, that was just sidetracking just a touch. With their losing streak, obviously a lot of people were jumping on him. We've seen that. Mm-hmm. I came to, I don't want to say I came to his defense, but, Eric Berger put out something in the box, and I flat out said, I'm like, I'm never going to come down on another team because the next set of games, the next season, the next couple years, something like that, that could be my team. And then it's like, well, I threw stones. Now I guess it's my turn for them to throw them back. Like, not going to do that. Like, it sucks, but at least you have a solid fan base that's still consistently showing up.
Oh, they
even when you're not doing well. Like,
they absolutely have a solid fan base.
That's a good thing.
They'd lost 8 in a row before they stopped the skid on Saturday night. And at that game on Saturday night, they had 4,600 people there.
Yeah.
The second of back-to-back games with their city's NFL franchise, the Chiefs, playing in and winning the Super Bowl the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you definitely cannot underestimate a passionate fan base. Like, it just shows how involved in this sport or passionate they are for their excuse me. Now I have the hiccups. Passionate for their team that they are.
More than anything, the reason that, like, I tweeted a couple times about their losing streak was just like, you can't believe this. How quickly it changed. They went from looking like they were going to dominate Utica, up 4-1 at the half. Utica looked dead in the water, to blowing that lead, and then it turned into an 8-game losing streak.
Yep. And now, of course, don't get me wrong, during our game against them, we definitely mocked them for that losing streak.
Oh, yeah.
Because, we're trying to get in their heads in the game.
Oh,
after the game.
To be fair, that chant was 100% trying to get it picked up by the broadcast speakers.
Yeah.
Because some of their fans had been, smack talking about when Utica plays a real team.
Yeah.
So, hey, are you guys a real team still with all the losses? Because you're headed towards Harrisburg territory. we know they're a real team. We know they're,
of course they do.
Competitors.
Of course they are.
They have a lot of good talent. But
once the game was done,
yeah,
it was done.
Yeah, it was more. Your fan base was awfully cocky, and they've been really quiet. Really quiet.
Where were we?
Attendance. Yeah,
yes,
attendance. They're great. Monterey's struggling. Tacoma hasn't recovered since COVID. They were 2,500, 2,600, 2,600 before. Like, steady, decent numbers. 1,200, 1,175, 1,271. Like, they saw half their fan base leave. And it's a shame because Nick Pereira is a fantastic talent.
Oh, yeah.
On, the way he's going, he could win his 3rd MVP this season.
He's on track.
Back-to-back MVPs.
Nope.
Chris Toth is the all-time saves leader. He just surpassed Danny Waltman, who was also on that team, though injured.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're, they might not be a contender every year, but they're a playoff team.
Absolutely. No question.
Or at least a potential playoff team. In the West, you kind of have your perennial powerhouse in San Diego, and now Chihuahua's popped in there to add to it, but I don't know what it takes to get more butts and seats out in Kent, Washington.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Pereira did get hurt.
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, I don't remember what, but I do remember that he did get injured.
I know he, Toth, and I think it's Caceres left after the game on Friday to go to the U.S. men's beach team tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Literally, Steve taking the words right out of my mouth. It's going to be interesting to see how they do without him. I mean, next man up here. I mean, that's a huge piece of your arsenal to lose. Considering, you look at the leaders and he's got 3 of them.
Okay,
I mean, he is
quarter of the KC game. I didn't get to tune in until the end.
Like, he's leading points. Mm-hmm. He's leading assists. He's leading points per game. Mm-hmm. I mean, the man is a powerhouse.
Yeah. So, have to see how long he's out for, I guess.
Yeah.
But overall, attendance in the league is almost back to where it was when the league began. Unfortunately, COVID clipped all that growth, and I'm sure inflation is a big issue here in post-COVID as well.
Of course, yeah.
My grocery trips that used to cost $30 are now like $65. I'm like, I'm getting the same stuff. How is it so much more?
You just got to be a smarter shopper.
Steal? Is that what you're saying? Steal?
Listen,
finger
okay?
discount. You heard it here first. No. Brandon Brooks endorses theft.
No. Hear me out. So over the weekend, we were out getting stuff for dinner, and we were at Walmart, and we had.
Oops! I forgot to scan the $100 steak that I put in my cart.
No, it was just a $20 filet mignon. It's fine. But seriously though, it was two filet mignons, decent size, $20 regular price. They were marked down to $9.80. So it's like, just gotta be a smart shopper. But yeah, no, inflation sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a true story, but obviously, yeah, just inflation sucks.
Mm-hmm. I miss filling up my gas tank for $25 instead of $40.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck getting it under 40 for the most part.
Yeah. So attendance isn't that bad. Yes, teams have changed arenas. Yes, things have gone against the league in some ways. But they've kind of trimmed the fat. A lot of the low performers are gone. They've raised the floor, even if the ceiling has come down a bit at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to see Milwaukee get back to where they were. Not quite sure what happened there. They were averaging 4,000 fans, and this year they're struggling to crack 3.
I don't know. I mean, at least for us on the broadcast, not much has changed.
No.
And maybe that could be part of it. Maybe people are just getting bored with the same old thing every time. I don't know. Throw spikes on the field.
But yeah, that covers the attendance part. That covers strength of schedule. I think we're in for a good finish to the season. And
we're at least in for some variety for the second half of the season for Utica specifically. We're not just doing Baltimore, Harrisburg, Baltimore, Harrisburg. We got a really good amount of variety for the next 10 games.
The final 10 games.
The final 10. Don't you do it. I will find you. I know where you... Actually, I don't have to find you. I know where you live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 72. So you look behind me. It's 72.
Listen, I know I can find you there, too.
I know.
Yeah.
I was there very late last night.
I can get something to eat there, too, while I'm...
We had a Super Bowl party for the Comets, so we were there pretty late.
Nice. What are you partying for the Kansas City Comets for?
No, the other the hockey Comets. The Hawkettes.
The soccer that's played on ice with sticks. Don't you laugh at me. You have no response for that, do you?
Yeah. So you talk about a little bit of variety in the last 10 games. We play the blast in 3 of them. We play the ambush in 2.
You're trying.
We play the wave in 2. That's 7 games against 3 teams. So much for variety. The bright spots are we get a home game against Monterey, which I'm excited for.
Mm-hmm.
That one should be fantastic.
Oh yeah. Hopefully it'll be fantastic and not just destruction.
Yeah. One final game against Harrisburg. And one final game against Kansas City. Back at Cable Dahmer Arena.
Yep. At least we got Harrisburg at home, so we get to, see people like Joey and stuff like that coming back to Utica turf.
Mm-hmm. We've 2 games this weekend, 1 game next weekend. We got 3 games, three weekends with double games. The final home game is Sunday, March 24th, and the final game of the regular season is Saturday, March 30th at Baltimore.
Yeah, I know.
Aren't you excited? You get to go to the toy box.
I can't wait to be in the front row. It's going to be great. Still debating on if I wear my Riggies jersey. They'll never know.
Just, get a Utica chant going. I did. It wasn't hard.
Yeah.
Mob mentality. People will cheer along for anything, and it just takes them a second to realize what they're cheering.
Just be like, Utica, nice and quiet, but get the claps.
You go really loud, and they start with it, and then they're like, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, let's go blast. What?
Watch out for crazy people who park, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was just the Brian O'Quinn story.
Oh, okay.
We parked. There's a car cockeyed into 2 parking spots, and of course, it had a New York license plate. We're like, yeah. Just make all of us look like terrible drivers, fit the stereotype, and then it was Coach Brian O'Quinn.
See, Huber's gonna be wearing his Riggies jersey. I'm thinking about it. I'm telling you.
You're gonna get my Utica.
I'm gonna have my Utica one on underneath it, and then when we score, I'm gonna rip the thing off and be like, "Woo!"
Take Riggies.
So we have a few good narratives here in the second half. Can Utica secure the 2nd seed in the East? Can they sweep Harrisburg?
Can they topple the Flash?
Can someone stop the Flash? Can anyone stop the Flash? But it'd be great if it was Utica.
What?
You just had to do it, huh?
I had to do it.
You just had to do it.
Yep.
Because they're the saviors of the universe.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, that's what the next line is.
I know it is. They're the Sogs of the universe.
Or are they the Flash, the fastest man in the world?
They can run. That's the problem. They can run. They can run for 4 quarters, and they can run fast. So, it kind of fits.
Then really, what I might call the second most interesting storyline of the second half. Utica goes back to Panther Arena to play Milwaukee. Can we please finally get a win there? Just get that monkey off our back.
I knew this was coming.
I don't want to end up there in the playoffs and just have that little demon sitting there like, you can't win on the black turf. You can't win on the black turf. Whoa.
Ah!
You forget with the green screen effect, we can't see you coming in. You just popped up out of nowhere, out of a...
You said there was a demon on your shoulder, so Peanut Gallery is assisting.
Okay, fair point.
I'm also wearing a green shirt, so I kind of blend into the green screen. Ow.
You going to bed?
Go Utica. I'm making rice.
Okay, come on.
Okay.
And she's gone.
And she disappears into the void.
Yep.
Just going into 72, duh. It's going back to her table.
I forgot you were alive.
Yep, yeah, we are.
Hi, people of YouTube.
Oh, Caitlin.
Yes.
Yes, we definitely want to win on that black turf. I mean, we have not been able to secure a win. I figured I'd get us back on track. I got you.
Thank you. I went to read the chat, see,
Yeah, no, it would definitely be nice to be able to win on that turf. Even if we ended up dropping our game at home, if we could secure a win on that turf, I would honestly feel totally fine with that 50-50 spread.
Yeah, because if we're going to lose one at home, it will probably be this next one, just because it's back-to-back days.
Yeah, and I mean, we're definitely going against a higher tier team. I mean, I won't go too far into it. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it in the preview.
In a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at Utica's schedule, and 1, 2, 3, say at least 5 wins in the final 10 games seems pretty easy, if not more. Like, I'm not going to go and say, yeah, they're going 10-0. We know it's tough to win against the Blast down in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
Especially down in Baltimore. They still look out of sorts on a big field. You know what I mean? Like, on a fuller sized field, they're not as effective at what they do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
The Flash, who knows? The Wave.
Seems like they can do anything anywhere.
I'd love to get a split against the Wave, but you got to get points. That's really all it is.
Yeah. And that is true, too. I mean, at least Milwaukee also has a game before their game with us, but they have an extra day to rest.
Yeah, they can travel on Saturday and get to Utica and have a full night's sleep and not be loading up into a van at 6 p.m. and making it back to the area around 11 or midnight.
Right.
At Kansas City, I'm sure that's going to be another tough one. Like most teams in this league, the Blast are better, or the Comets are better at home. I mean, the Blast are better at home too.
Every team is, maybe not on paper, but you would anticipate that they would be better at home, because then you've got a lot of fans that are cheering you on.
Yeah. I mean, it's very quickly turned into, like, last year, I think there were 3 teams that had winning road records. And this year there are 5.
Wasn't Utica one of them?
Utica was not. We had a losing road record. We were 1 game shy of 500.
That's right. Yeah, we were really close. We brought it back.
Monterey, obviously.
Yep.
Utica. San Diego. Texas is actually better away than they are at home at the moment. They're 5-3 on the road, 4-4 at home. And then Tacoma, 4-2 on the road.
Okay. All right.
But should be a good second. Well, I guess we're technically into the second half, but
we're not in the meat and potatoes of the second half yet. We're just having the appetizer. We haven't fully been into the main course. Yeah. The bye week kind of separated out that was the palate cleanser between the first half and the second half.
So let's talk this weekend's games.
Yeah.
Baltimore Saturday night, Milwaukee Sunday afternoon. Baltimore is down at Towson University. They have added Ricardo Diegues.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if he'll be active for this game. His wife just had a baby. So he and Taylor Walter Bond are in the very similar situation.
Yep.
You know what? If you're missing games to raise your child, I am perfectly fine with that.
Oh, yeah. 100%. No, you should be.
Other than that, it's the usual suspects there. Pereira, Donatelli, Moy. Then 2 of their newcomers this season, Pereiras and Pacheco.
Yep. And then, of course, you always got Zierhofer to deal with if he's playing. I mean, I know sometimes we've had Zierhofer, and other times we've had Quattrell Jones. So, I mean, it's kind of been a back and forth for who we end up with, really.
Yeah, we'll see if they stick and go. It seems like they're leaning more and more Zierhofer.
Yes, agreed.
Utica, I mean, most of the guys had the week off, but Nilton and Frank, they're coming back from training at futsal.
Yep.
They had a camp down in Rio de Janeiro. So Everton got him down to his home country, and they played a couple games down there. Let's hope they're ready to go this weekend. I guess the most interesting question is, with the game Sunday being less than 24 hours later, do you kind of do like they did a few weeks ago when they went to Baltimore and then had a game 2 days later and rest some guys and send a little bit of the B squad?
I mean, I know we kind of talked about this a little bit where, we could potentially play some of our, I don't want to say lower tier talent, because that's not what I'm meaning.
Depth pieces. Yes.
Playing some of our depth pieces instead of playing our best. I know that was kind of one of our discussions that had been going around, and I could see doing that. But also at the same time, I think we also really want to play for ensuring that we're securing that playoff spot early. And in that case, sending, the A squad, if you will. So I could see both sides of that coin. And, yes, our history in this season only, our history has definitely been in our favor. We've taken every game by at least 3 goals. But you don't want to count out the Blast, especially on their home turf. So it's almost like you want to play a mix. Almost like you want to play, yes, definitely bring some of the A squad, rest Coughlin some more. I think that would be totally acceptable. Rest him to maybe play on Sunday if he is even in playable strength or playable state at this point. I mean, luckily had the bye week to kind of heal up a little bit more. So, I mean, if it was me, I'd be playing Wilkin on Friday or Saturday, and if he's healthy, Coughlin on Sunday. That's my take on it. As far as everyone else, I mean, Friday, maybe leave, or Saturday. I keep wanting to say Friday because I'm so used to having a Friday game, a Friday away, and then a Sunday at home. I could see us resting Gordy even if he is healthy. I could definitely see him sitting out. Other than him, though, I mean, I don't know. I could kind of see us playing pretty much everyone else.
See, I kind of lean heavily into that. Go ahead and give them that rest. Like, there are guys you obviously want to shake the rust off of after 2 weeks off.
Yep.
But Nilton and Frank have been playing. Give them that extra day. They've been playing in Rio. They're an hour ahead of us time zone wise.
Yep.
And they've been down there for almost a week now, I think, if not a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Give them that extra time to adjust back that hour. I'm with you 100%. Let Wilkin get the start in net. Send Wilkin and Julian, unless Coughlin's still injured.
Yeah.
In which case, give Julian a crack at it.
Yeah, why not?
Like, I want our best available keeper at 100% against Milwaukee.
Agreed.
And if you drop 3 points at Baltimore, yeah, you drop 3 points. But they're less of a threat to you than Milwaukee is right now for where you are in the standings. Like, if they get 3 points, they put a little more pressure on Kansas City.
Yes, they're not exactly they're not putting direct pressure on us in in the standings. Whereas, I agree with that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's less crucial for us to not drop points against them than it would be than against Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If he's healthy, send Rafa. Let Timmy get another game in here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, obviously you have to send a majority of your starters.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If Gordy's 50-50,
rest him.
Which I don't think he is, but even if he's, 75% instead of 100, give him Saturday off, have him ready for Sunday.
Right. Yep. I am all for that.
Yeah. The team led by, Ronnie, Keaton, Mo, Chino, that offense is still going to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
So, or still capable of getting the job done.
Right.
So, I just, just different way of to look at things.
Breaking down the roster.
Yeah. Try to keep guys as fresh as possible for the Cole Stevens has shown he's done well in games that he's gotten into.
Yes, he has.
Let's see what some of these guys can do.
Isak's been nice since it's been pretty good since he's come back.
Yeah.
I still applaud Keaton for how he's played this season. He's been fantastic. I'd love to see more from him. See him continue.
Yeah, you could play Keaton one game and rest him the next, and switch him and Isak out.
Yep,
because they're both speed threats. Now, Isak's a little bit more technical with his speed.
He is very true.
Keaton will just blow by you. Isak's gonna give it a quick dribble or two and then just blow by you.
He's gonna make it hurt.
But there's depth here where you can afford to sit some of your first line guys and keep them fresh for the next day.
100%.
And let's get predictions. How do you see this one shaking out?
Based on our history this year and how things have kind of broken down, how things have broken down over the past few times we've gone against them. We actually scored more in Townsend Arena, in TU Arena than we have in our arena. Because, we outscored them 10-6 there, and we outscored them, 8-5 and 5-2 here. So 3 goal differential here, 4 there. But obviously that can also turn around very quickly because of the smaller field. So if we're able to keep in mind the smaller field, which I think is less of a problem because of our practice in the Nexus Center. I think that might be contributing to why we're not doing 3-line violations all the time down there, as we've been smarter about it. And
those are full-size hockey rinks over there.
Okay.
Still a full-size field.
But we definitely have been much more mindful of it this year, at minimum. So that kind of takes away, I would say, part of the advantage for Baltimore. I'm going to say, 9-5. We had 10-6 the last time we were down there. Let's go 9-5.
Okay. If they send a squad, everybody's balls, goes. I still think the players might hold back a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll say 7-5. Baltimore's better than they were. I think they can keep it a little bit closer, especially on their home turf.
Yeah.
Kind of like the to paraphrase from Aladdin, infinite offensive capabilities, itty bitty playing space.
Really?
That ball pinballs around.
Yes, it does.
So it could be tighter. You send B squad. I think a lot of those guys have a lot to prove, or that they want to prove. and the defense might not be as tight, but there's also less tape on what these guys can do.
Yep.
And that one turns into like a 9-8 shootout that could go either way.
Ooh. Okay.
Especially if Coughlin's not healthy yet.
Yeah.
And you're resting Wilkin and you have Julian in.
Okay. Yeah, that's
and now
true.
You're putting worse defense in front of him. Nothing against Julian, but we haven't seen a whole lot of him in live game action. We got one game against Harrisburg and a quarter of play against Tacoma.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a rough one that game.
Who was it that Juice Cox almost knocked out in the San Diego game that got all scrappy? Same player that KO'd Julian, ripped a shot, and it hit, I think, their goalkeeper for San Diego. Xavier Snare-Williams was in at the time. Mm-hmm. It hit him like on the top of the forehead, and, medics staff had to come out and check on him. See, that was a nice glance. Yeah, it rang his bell because it was a glancing one off the forehead, whereas Julian got like sucker punched with it.
That's a good question. Do you think we'd see Merker go down?
Possibly. We haven't seen him at all this year.
Right.
And on that smaller field, you could deal with a little bit less speed because there's less room to use it.
Yeah. I mean, what's nice about this year compared to past years is that a lot of these guys that have not been necessarily active on our roster have been active in M2.
Yes.
And that is, that's nice. We know Rafa's been active on Krasnick. We know Merker's been active on Krasnick. Isak made his return kind of to Krasnick. So, these guys... Yeah. So, these guys are at least active.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm sure that they would be doing other things, staying active, but they're in playing shape. And
they're getting game speed.
Yes, game speed. Exactly. So I think that's, a distinct, I don't want to say a distinct advantage, but it's definitely a good thing compared to previous years that we've had. So Is he going to make the trip? I don't know. I think that's still it's a low chance, but there's still a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would see like Timmy. We definitely see like Timmy and people like that before
Timmy,
we would see
Stevens, Berger, all these other guys that have gotten a crack already this year.
Yeah, we'd see them before we see Merker, I think. Maybe we see him for Harrisburg.
Possibly. Anything goes in those games.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Sunday, 3:00, Blue Turf. In come the Wave. Who, I'll just say it, their throwback jerseys were the best jerseys I've ever seen them wear.
They were pretty nice. I agree with that.
It was a clean look. It was a very clean look.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Leite that got injured in that game that they last played? I know that was 2 weeks ago, but I can't remember. One of their lead scorers was... that
sounds right.
I think in a sling at the end of it.
Yeah, and of course they don't have anything out yet for this week because it's so early in the week.
It's too early in the week, yeah. But if he's down, that hurts them immensely. His 10 goals and 14 assists lead the team in points.
Yep.
Mario Alvarez, second on the team. Ian Bennett starting to get back up there. He's got 15 goals, 5 assists. Not quite Ian Bennett numbers that we're used to seeing, but kind of like Frank. Started slow, starting to get things going together. Okay, according to Huber, Leite got hurt, but he made the trip for the futsal camp. So
okay. So he's doing at least good enough for something like that.
Yeah.
So he should be very likely playing shape.
Everybody's either least favorite or favorite troll from the league, Derek Huffman. Doing Derek Huffman things, and like he does, he kills Utica.
Yeah, no, he He does well, unfortunately.
And then Carvalho has started to find his footing with the team. He's got 10 goals and 6 assists in 13 games.
Yeah, but you got to remember, don't count out Max Ferdinand either.
No, they did add Max Ferdinand.
Yes, so that's another offensive weapon that you have to keep in mind. Just because he's not on the score sheet that much, just because he's not one of their leaders doesn't mean you can't watch out for him. I mean, he's kind of I would say fly under the radar, but it's just because he hasn't built up stats with them yet.
Yeah. Defensively, Ben Raymond leads the team with 25 points. We're all very familiar with his game.
Oh, yeah.
And the absolute banger that he ripped in the last game between these two teams.
Yes.
2 goals on the season, both of them absolute rockets.
Mm-hmm.
And then Willie B in goal.
It was just consistently good.
495 goals allowed against, leads the league in saves, 737 save percentage. I mean, if not his best, one of his best seasons.
He doesn't lead the league.
No? He did before last week.
Yes. Neto edged him out by 1.
He's actually with 2 games got him.
He's actually tied for second right now with Texas and Paulo Cortez and Paulo
Nascimento.
Yeah, so he's tied for second at the moment with 165. But Neto has the lead.
Yeah, all right. Goals allowed against, Willie B's best of his career. Save percentage, best of his career.
Yeah. He's doing phenomenal for the Wave.
I'll say this. Willie B leaving the Heat changed that franchise's future.
Yeah, but I think it was what was best for him.
Yes.
And he is showing his true strength on a different team.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find a nice thing to say, so I just went with that.
How do we see this one shaking out?
Yeah. It's going to be close.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
If Utica's defense is on point, like it was in some of the most recent games that we've watched, and offense takes the opportunities that they should be taking, we don't do anything silly, bad. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I think we're going to have another Texas game on our hands. I think this one's going to be an overtime. I'm thinking like a 8-7. And honestly, I think that could go either way. I think it could be an 8-7 one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But 8-7, 1 goal for sure, overtime.
Yeah. Last time these teams met, it was a 9-7 game. Oops. Clicked that wrong. Not bad. 9-7. It was a game that, Utica kind of hung around for a while, and then Milwaukee pulled away in the second half. We know
Sorry.
I was going to say, we know that there was an illness making its way through the team at that point. We don't know how extensive that was, unfortunately.
I wasn't even thinking that. I don't feel like Utica had their footing yet in that game. Because up until that point, we had basically had Baltimore and Harrisburg.
There's no basically. We had Baltimore and Harrisburg.
So, I mean, up until that point, we had just played 2 different teams over and over and over, and that was it. And yes, we definitely tried to hang around for a while, but ultimately we couldn't hang with the big boy in Milwaukee. So it is what it is. Now the team has definitely meshed a lot more. They have kind of come into their own. much more than we would have expected. And not much more we would have expected, but much more than we had previously. I mean, we honestly made kind of short work of Kansas City. We had great game against Baltimore, St. Louis, Kansas City again. Like, we've had some really dominant games that could help us deal with a dominant Milwaukee. So that's why I think I think it's going to be an OT game. I really do.
Oh, it could absolutely reach overtime,
which is really bad for us.
So here's the thing: the last time these teams played in Utica was the playoffs.
Yep.
Which we saw Utica force the mini game with a 4-3 win.
Yep.
It was low scoring.
It was.
The reason it was low scoring: Willie B, 11 saves on 15 save attempts. Mr. Stretch, 20 saves on 23 attempts. The man that led the way has unfortunately been Vised. Christian Segura.
Yeah.
He scored or assisted on all 4 goals.
Yep. Here's something that concerns me with if we did do Wilkin on Friday, and if Coughlin's healthy, Coughlin on
Wilkin on Saturday.
Sunday.
Yes.
You know what I meant. When was the last time Coughlin played? 2 weeks?
It'll be 3 because you had the bye week.
That's a little concerning. If that's the case, I would almost want to see Julian on Friday and Wilkin on Saturday. Saturday and Sunday. I'll get it right. By the end of this, I will get it
You're
right.
like me at just getting the heat and the blast backwards.
Blarst.
It's like they're an hour away from each other. Forgive me.
Yeah, because he's not going to be warm. He's not going to be, now, granted, not counting out Coughlin by any stretch of the imagination. But it's going to be, we'll call it a very, very tough learning curve if he ends up playing on Sunday. Because he's just going to get thrown right to the fire.
Yeah. So I'm clicking through some photos on Instagram from the training sessions that I put up over this past week.
Yeah.
I see pictures of Julian. I see pictures of Wilkin. I see pictures of the goalkeeper from the M2 team.
Yep.
I don't see Coughlin.
Yeah, so if that's the case, it's possible that we will see we will see Julian on Saturday and Wilkin on Sunday. Which I would honestly be okay with Wilkin in goal against Milwaukee. Like, he's more than, he doesn't need to prove himself, but he's more than proven he can stand with these other teams.
Where's 28? It'll almost be a month between games for Coughlin. That's played on the 21st.
You're being told to check his page.
Check Coughlin's page?
Oh, yeah. Apparently he's not even in the state.
Maybe he went on vacation with the bye week.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Which one is he? I think he switched to Andrew T. Coughlin and not Andrew Coughs.
Yeah, it's Andrew T. Coughlin, 22.
Go away, search. Welcome to that's the post from 6 weeks ago. That post is even older.
Well, either way.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
So it's possible that he's not going to be around, but in the event that he is, I don't know. I'd almost want to see him play Friday and Wilkin on Saturday.
How could he play Friday? There's no game on Friday.
I had it right the time before this. I'm just going to start saying I would like to say he could play, we could have him play against the Blast and play Wilkin against Milwaukee. I don't have to worry about which day of the week it is. I want to go home. Oh, wait.
Too late. Yeah, this one's going to be a tight one.
Yes.
I think Utica's defense has crisped up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it depends on how many people from the first line we send to Baltimore that then have to turn around and play, less than 24 hours later,
right,
for how this one turns out. And either way, I'm thinking like 6-4 for whoever. Yeah. Okay. A little bit lower scoring.
Yep.
I could see Utica trying to slow the pace if they're tired legs. But only at stretches, you know what I mean? Like you'd put Frank and Gordy and Mo out there on the same line to try to control the ball and run a little bit more of a set offense instead of transition, run and gun.
Yep.
A key will be if Milwaukee goes 6 attacker early. How does Utica respond? Well, if the last game for Milwaukee says anything, they should probably just sit Willie B and go 6 attacker the whole time. I think that I would start the game with 6 attacker and just go from there.
Don't even suit Willie B.
Yeah, you know what? Don't even suit Augie Ray either. Just no goalkeepers. 6 attacker the whole time.
Whole time. Full on offense. Just send it.
Ultimate glass cannon.
I'm also going to change my prediction.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it down a couple. I'm actually going to go 6-5 instead of 8-7. I think that's a little bit more reasonable.
I talked you into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking about the past games, it's like, Willie B in goal is definitely going to keep it low. And, depending on either Wilkin or Coughlin is going to keep it low, I think.
A healthy Wilkin with the way the defense has been playing can definitely keep this, where if the over set at like 13.5, I wouldn't shy away from taking the under.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Utica will go 6 attacker of their own, and it'll just be no keepers. That's how we respond.
And then everybody gets blue cards, and we just have 3-on-3.
1-on-1.
I think that's everything for us tonight, Brandon, unless there's something else you wanted to talk about.
Dogs.
What do you want to say about them?
Lots of them. We want lots of them.
On pinball field, and now Huber's pulling a U.
It's not just me.
There is no Friday game, guys. There is no Friday game. They play Saturday night and then Sunday afternoon. Yes, Peanut Gallery.
Are there any superstructure possibilities for the Baltimore game?
There's always a superstructure possibility in every game because there's the big giant squirt thing.
But it's a cute little baby field.
It is, but they tend to not have them. They tend to have 3-line violations.
Yeah, 3 lines definitely happens a lot more often down there than superstructures. Mm-hmm. And no, I don't have anything else.
He's doing it on purpose, is what he says.
Yeah, I'm sure. No proof there.
Yes, Peanut Gallery.
Do you think anyone is going to be able to get a hat trick this weekend, and who?
Did you hear that?
I want a hat trick.
You want a hat trick?
Yeah.
How are you going to get it? What are your 3 goals that you have to achieve to get the hat trick?
I'm just going to wear 3 hats.
You're just going to wear 3 hats, okay?
Yeah. Headband, baseball cap, and my top hat. Done. My bowler cap.
I'm just going to throw it out there now. If you're going to 72, anyone, get a reservation in. Do it now. I don't know if you saw, there is a pregame tournament for youth teams this weekend and next weekend, and then the next 2 home games after that. So for the next 4 home games, there's a pregame tournament for little kids. And they have a tendency to just walk next door with no one calling. To be like, hey, we got 25, 30 people showing up. So if you want to have a seat before the game, secure it now. I'm serious. And also, if I remember correctly, there's like a 46-team hockey tournament going on at Nexus over the weekend. So that's even more teams that will just, walk on down the block and be like, hey, can you sit all 40 of us? Which, yeah, we probably can and we will. But if you're a smaller party and you want to make sure you have a seat, that the best way would be to get your reservations in now.
Yep. To answer the question about hat trick this weekend.
Hat trick.
If he plays on Saturday, Frank. Yes, I agree with Steve. I didn't even read it until after I said it. Frank,
yeah, he needs it.
He needs a hat trick. Yes, I want to see Frank get a hat trick in Baltimore. That would be what I want to see. Wishful thinking. I don't think there's the possibility for a hat trick. On Saturday, I just don't, because I don't think there's going to be that many goals.
You mean Sunday?
I had the first one right.
You did, and then you repeated it.
Yep. I don't see there being a hat trick on either side on Sunday, unless it's Ian Bennett. But I think we usually do a good job locking him down. So,
you know what? I'm gonna go out to left field on this one. And Chino gets a hat trick.
Okay.
On the small turf.
That's good.
Bless me.
Bless you. That's out there. I like it.
Blue card.
Chino's been having himself quite the
himself a time.
Not the season that Milton's had, who, by the way, congratulations, player of the week, offensive player of the week.
Yes.
Last week. Chino's been right behind, 9 goals, 5 assists, 12 games, 1.2 points per game. And he's had 2 goals twice this season. One of them came at the Stars, or one of them came at the Comets, including that game winner in overtime.
Yep.
He's been clutch when he needs to. It just feels like it's his turn to get a hat trick.
I agree with that. I could absolutely see that.
Also, I needed to pick someone
on Saturday.
Besides, I needed to pick someone besides Frank, because I think we all agree that as much as he's embraced this new role, he still wants more from himself and expects more from himself. And you can see it with his frustration on the field.
Yes. Yeah. You can definitely see when he gets frustrated that he's not able to do the things that he knows he can do and that he wants to do. You can definitely see it. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that teams in the East seem to know how to play around him. Whereas, just take Empire, for example. We are seeing a lot of stuff go through Marco Fabian. That would have been Frank in past years.
Teams in the West have tended to say, hey, I want this one guy to beat me.
Yeah. Yep.
Teams in the East have been very much, this single player's not going to beat me. Let's make everyone else.
Yep.
And that doesn't work against teams like Texas and Utica and Milwaukee, where there are a plethora of players that can do damage.
Multiple options. Yep.
Yeah. I agree, Steve. Mo would be another good one to get a hat trick. Though I'd see him getting a hat trick of assists, because he's just been lethal at finding players.
Agreed. He's an opportunity maker for sure. And an extremely good distributor.
I will say, did you see Steph's assist against KC to Marco Fabian?
Oh, yes.
Threaded the defense on the power play.
Yes. Yeah, that was. Yeah, it was.
What a find.
Purdy.
Let's see a few assists like that this week out of our guys.
I would love that. Oh.
But I believe that's everything from us then. Yes?
Yeah, yes, I'd say take us home.
Cool. You know where to find us on social media. If not, it'll play here and have all the little links that you can find. Let me double check TeePublic because I don't know if they're having a sale right now. No, not at the moment. But yeah, our TeePublic store still exists. If you're new, sign up for email and text. You get 30% off your first order. Our Gordy stuff continues to be the most popular. Considering Gordy, it was running a giveaway of one of the mugs with was it Need Bakery? I have to fight to not call them Whisk like they used to be called.
Yep.
I have a suspicion on where some of those items have gone. Yeah, there's some great gear. Rep your favorite players. And I need to remember to take... I don't know if it'll show up on the stream. When we had the Utica Club jerseys made this past year, I had one made with Utica Club 18 for the year that the team came here.
Didn't that say Utica City?
Utica City, yes, but Utica Club's brand logo style. Well, not their logo, but similar. And got to remember to take it the next time that Timmy does trivia. Pass it along, get it team signed, and maybe we'll do a giveaway here during one of our episodes for a team signed jersey.
That would be fun. I'm sure we could, get it passed along to the right people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But otherwise, thank you all for joining. Thanks for participating in the chat. If you're listening, we do these shows every Monday, 7 p.m. live on YouTube. We'd love to have you join us.
Absolutely. Come enjoy the fun.
The chaos, the tangents, the technical difficulties.
The
SOGs.
The
structures.
I think that's this button. No, that's... Okay, I still have that one on there, so that's good. Listen, they're not labeled. There's no way to label them unless I get a label maker, and yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to take another crack at it?
I'm afraid now. Because I know I was messing around with them not that long ago. So I don't know what's on there.
So until next time, I'm Matt. He's Brandon. Thank you so very much. Until next time, go Utica.
Woo!
Sogs.
Soggity sogs. Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing. Go Utica City.